Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Tractorman 44 here. Well, it's kind of the end of a pretty long, hard day. I got to thinking about a video I did for a family friend here about a year ago. Maybe it might be 2 years ago or so now. She's a sweet little lady. I've done a lot of repair work for her, fix her furnace, service her air conditioning unit, things like that. I think I worked on a couple of leaks around her windows, just simple things like that. Even put a threshold down for her. But she does a lot of grass cutting around town. She carries an old lawnmower, in the back of her car, and runs around and cuts a lot of people's grass. So she's quite active and stays pretty busy, even though she's a year or two older than what I am. And she had this lawnmower that has the thing you pull back, the handle you pull back, and it engages the, I guess it raises the throttle at the same time it engages the drive wheels so that it pulls itself. And especially on the hillsides when the grass is a little slick, she can't get by with just a standard lawnmower because she doesn't have the strength to hold everything just right. So she has to have this thing with the drive wheels. Okay, well, lo and behold, she called me. She called me and said that something happened. There's wire hanging loose and she can't. Her lawnmower won't go. So I stopped by to take a look at it. And what I done, I did a video on it. And her name is Josie. And I'm talking to her in this video and explaining to her what it is that I'm doing, to make this repair. And so I just stumbled across it in my file. And I thought, this was a pretty nice video, for people that may have this issue. I know she's not the only one that's got this issue, but I come up with a real quick and a real simple fix that didn't take any kind of crazy things at all. You could have done it without the machines that I used, but the machines that I used was definitely handy. I think, I'm not sure, but I think it's still working. Though I haven't heard anything from her for a while, hasn't anything broken down. So I'm assuming that it's still working because I see her grass gets cut every so often.
What I've done, Joni, was just take a piece of scrap metal, which is this rod right here, and cut it off. It had a bend on it already, which is the perfect bend that we needed. And I drilled this this hole in the middle of it and then cut this slot in it. And I use this machine right here. It's called the clousing milling machine that allows you to do these fancy little notches and shape all kinds of things, and you'll see whenever we get to put this together how it's going to work. Now we have to cut this off over here and then drill a hole in it. That's what the cable is going to slide into, that's going to engage your wheels. Okay, I've got the piece of rod cut off. I'm going to put it in this machine here. It's called the lathe. It's a metal lathe. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean the end of that off. So we start it up, turn the crank down here. See how it's cutting the end off perfectly square? That's important because we're going to cut a hole right down into the center of it. So there we go. Now I'm going to use a special bit. It's a center finder or a centering bit. It only has one purpose, and that's use that little bitty tip right here to find the exact dead center of a round piece of material. So let's start it up. And we'll just index that right in just a little bit. And it's going to locate us the perfect center on that shaft. That way we won't wobble or won't be crooked. So that should be good enough. That'll rig my regular drill bit right in. Now that we have the center located, we can use a standard drill bit that you normally put in a drill. But on a lathe, the piece goes around and around in a circle and the drill bit stays still. So we're ready to drill a hole. This is the hole that the cable that engages the drive wheels will actually stick inside there. Now I'm going to drill and tap and put in a couple of bolts to secure it in place. This will give you an idea of how deep we drilled that hole. If you look over here, we're just a little past 2.5 inches. Right there it says 2.5 inches, so it's about 2 3/4 inches in. So let me back this tool out. I'll back it out by cranking this crank. There you go. That's how far in we're in, a good 2 1/4 inches. Now we have to undo the jaws on the chuck in order to get out the little rod. Remember that little rod's got a end bent on the end of it, so I got to open it just right and slide that out. So here we go. This is what we just made. That's got a 2 1/4 inch hole. The cable's going to slide inside. We're going to cut off all that nasty part of the cable, and then this is going to mount underneath the handlebars on the mower. When you pull it back, it's going to go like this. It's going to pull the cable and engage the wheels. Now what I've done, Joni, is I've taken that piece that I made with the slot in it and the pin. That's going to go underneath here where the cable used to hook onto. And see how that's going to pull forward like that? I've got to cut this off up here by my thumb somewhere for this cable to slide inside of. That cable is going to slide into a hole in the end of this, and I'll put a bolt in there or a set screw to hold the cable in place. So when you push the handle, this will pull back. When that pulls back, that's going to pull the cable and engage the wheels. And here's the box of set screws over here. We have to decide which ones will fit that rod the best, and I think it's going to be this one right here. So we're going to probably use 3 of these right here. So now it's time to drill holes and cut threads in the holes and then get ready to secure the cable. We're going to put 3 set screws in. So this machine is going to allow me to cut flat spots on that round rod, so I can drill holes nice and neatly and drill and tap and install 3 set screws. You can see how we go like that. Now I'll turn this other crank and it'll move it down. And on right here. Now we'll pull this back this way. And now I have 3 flat spots to put the screws in. I'm going to take these 3 set screws, we're going to start them in the holes. So, get the first one right over here and line it right up. There's one. It's very hard to do this with one hand. There's 2. And there's the third one. Now it's time to cut the cable off. We'll stick the cable right up inside there and then tighten it down with the 3 set screws to hold the cable in place. Okay, Joni, here it is. You see it's installed. Right up here is a cotter pin, and there's this fancy little rod that we built, and there's our 3 set screws, and there's the cable going into it. And when you push the handle down, it pulls the cable out, which is going to make it roll forward like crazy. So there you go, man. I think it's gonna work. All I gotta do is test it out.
Now that you made it to the end of the video, if you hung around that long, you can see exactly what it was that I did to make that repair. And she was a happy camper when I brought her back over, showed her how well it worked, and just couldn't wait to get started and get out and cut her grass. So that's all there is to this one here. And this is Tractor Man 44, and I'm out of here, guys.